Hello peeps, Donna here. Welcome to my studio, welcome to my channel, and welcome to this little tutorial. Now you guys know I have a classroom and that's where all the big classes have been going, and sometimes it's kind of a struggle to figure out what to do on the open channel. Now I've been consolidating a lot of classes I did in the beginning when my internet was so slow. I had to break everything up into teeny weeny teeny parts. So I put them together, and I think that's been really helpful. People who didn't see them before, even though they've been up for a year, more than a year, are now able to watch them because you don't have to go and search for like part 3 of a 5-part class. Anyway, so it's been kind of a struggle for me to take care of both, the needs of both the classroom and the open channel, but I continue to try. So today on the open channel, for everyone, I'm just going to make a little pendant. Yeah, not difficult stuff, simple stuff. If you look at it, it's not going to be exactly the same because I'm not using this cane. I'm going to be using the beaded curtain cane, but I've got a Skinner blend, and I've got foil. This is foil. I bought a ton of it. And a little spiral there. And of course it's backed. So I'm also not going to make it oval. I'm going to make it diamond shaped. Yeah, I am. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is make a Skinner blend from pearl to black. And you can see this is not a lot of clay, and these sheets have been rolled through setting number 2. So on the channel there is a complete tutorial on Skinner blend, so please watch that, and then please make your Skinner blend into a plug. There's also a tutorial for that, and when you have done that, we'll be ready for the next step. Here is my plug. You can see it's not a very short plug. It's kind of tall, but it's tall because it has to be as tall as the piece I'm making, because I want the blend to run from the top to the bottom. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the template. This is part of a series of acrylic templates that were designed and made by Cara Jane Hayman, my dear friend from England. And they're really wonderful, very useful tools for you to have. Now, she doesn't make them all scratched up like this. I do that myself. Why, you might wonder, am I damaging my my own templates? Well, I'm not really damaging them. I'm improving them, for me anyway. I'm just going to take opera net like this, and I just stroke the back. Now, what's the back? The back is the side that's perfectly smooth. Run your fingers on one side, you feel all these little lines, all these incised marks. The other side, you go like that. I don't feel a thing. That's the back side. So I sand it, and it doesn't take much to do, as you can see. But what it does do for me is very important. If I take and place the textured side or the sanded side on raw clay, I can cut it out and I can easily lift this off. It's not going to stick. You know, polymer clay sticks to slick surfaces really well. It doesn't stick so well to textured surfaces, and that's why I sand it. Okay. Now, that's one part you need. You're going to need something like this. Now, this is the beaded curtain cane that I made for the black and white series. Now, I did reduce it so the scale is finer, but you're going to need something like this. So you might have a black and white cane in your possession already that you want to use. Perfect. If you want to make this or something like it, then you can consult this class, which is on the channel. I will provide the link. And so once you make this, we're ready to move on to the next part. Now, let's talk about the size of the cane. You see how small it is? I don't need much of it, because what I'm going to do is cut a slice and then lengthen it, elongate it, so that it is long enough to go from here, from the top to bottom. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a humongous cane. You know, you can take a rather small cane, or even a cane that's even smaller than this, and you know what, we can make it the right size. Okay, so get that done, and then we are ready to move on to the next thing, which is the foil. Now we're on to the foil. Okay, so this isn't leaf, it's foil. And foil is actually a chemical coating on mylar, all right? So the coating is on one side of the mylar. Now, when you're looking at the actual design or pattern or color, whatever it is, you're actually looking through the mylar, okay? When you turn it over, you see this kind of dull finish. Well, this is the back of that coating. So this is not mylar, and you can see you can damage it like that. This side, I can't, because I am stroking and, you know, rubbing my finger against the mylar itself. So when you use this, you want to place it so that the side, that the good side, the pattern side, is up. You are going to be seeing it through the whole process. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Wrong side, right side. So I have rolled my black clay through setting number 5, and I pressed it to a ceramic tile. Now I'm just going to take this and press it and stroke it onto the clay like this. I've talked about this before. The first person I ever saw do this, a woman by the name of Nancy Banks, and she had done a lot of experimentation with it. She was doing some really interesting things. But before then, you know, I don't think anybody really knew what it was. So you can thank Nancy Banks, because she is the one who figured it out. Okay. Now, we gotta whip it. Yep. Okay, shall I whip? I'm gonna whip it with my Fire Mountain Gems card. Business, not a business card, credit card, you know, anything kind of rigid like this. One of those, you know, Moico gives the, it's like a credit card. You guys know what I mean. I don't really have to explain much more. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna whip it like that. And as I'm whipping, the finish is being kind of pushed off the mylar and onto the clay. How many times? I don't know. I'm not really good at this. There's a woman in Colorado by the name of Barb Harper who also did a lot of work with this, and she was so good at it. But I swear, she would go like this, and then she would pull it off, and it'd be perfect. I don't exactly know how that worked, because I spend my time whipping. Whip, 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 whip. Yeah. And I made it this shape because I'm going to be making this spiral, so it's got to be kind of long so I can spiral it around. Now, let me try the Barb Harper. Just a little bit of heat. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe she has hotter fingers than I do. Maybe if I blew on it. I don't know. Now I'm getting silly. And also, remember, this is quite old. I don't know that there's an expiration date on it or that it ever goes bad. But we'll see. All right, now I'm just going to pull up a corner like that. And you just want to grip enough of it because you're going to rip it off like really fast, okay? Fast, not slow, not like taking a Band-Aid off like that, but you're going to just grab this, if you can get it. Hello, hello. And then 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't grab it. Okay, now I got it. 1, 2, 3. See? And here's the Mylar. And here's the coating on the clay. Now, if you have any, see these spots on there? Well, they didn't transfer, did they? So you can even put it back down. Kind of put it back on as it was. And maybe work a little bit harder at it. Oh, please. And then do the same. Rip it off. I think this time I'm going to cut a little more of this black clay away because, yeah, it'd be nice if I didn't do that again. No guarantees, however. Okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Oopsie, I did it again. I'm such a klutz. All right, so some of it did come off. I'm not going to work any harder at this. Okay, so there is piece number 3. Plug, cane, and metallic. Metallic. Let me clean this off because now I think we're ready. I think we're ready. Let us remove this from the tile. It's really stuck on there really well. So now I've got to get it off. Now, you can't see this corner, but this corner is resting against my body. So it can't really move. I'm going to take my blade and and I'm really pushing against the tile. And there you go. It's free. It's free. Okay, and I'm going to put it on a piece of deli paper so that it doesn't stick to my work surface. Okay, so I could texture it. I could. You see, in the original piece, it was textured like that. And texturing is simple. It's just a matter of taking a sponge. And this is the, what is it called? Dual Plex refrigerator liner stuff. And what it does is it keeps your veggies fresher, longer, and it also textures polymer clay. So I'm going to texture it, I think, because God forbid something's not textured. Okay. So texturing is easy enough. Now, this is really thin and this is really thick. Now, I have set my machine at setting number 5 to roll this sheet. But you know what? I'm going to back off. I'm going to reset my machine to setting number 4. And that's what I'm going to roll it through. So it isn't, I'm not squeezing it through quite the thinnest, you know, a setting as thin. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let me do that. And I'll be back. It's just going to go through like that. Ta-ta. There we go. Okay. This goes back on the paper. As You guys can see it's polar fleece weather again in Colorado. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to flatten this guy out and roll it through the pasta machine. And try to get all these little bits. The bits. Okay, let's flatten you out, dude. So I'm just gonna try to flatten this out so that it is a bit thicker than the thickest setting of my pot. See, that's way too thick. I don't want it that thick. And I don't really want to make it longer from here to here. I want to kind of maintain that. And see, it does get longer. So I will push it back in a bit. So refer to your template or your pattern. So my pasta machine's been squeaking. Squeak! I'm not sure it's the machine or the motor, but something in here is squeaking, and that's why I'm not rolling while recording, because I have to figure it out. I'm so hard on pasta machines. Well, I use my pasta machine so much. So now I'm going to, and this I think is just fine, I'm going to roll this through 1, through 2, through 3. And every time I roll it, I'm going to put the Skinner blend, this part, on the rollers like this. This is a roller, this is the clay, it goes through like that. I will be back after I've rolled through setting 3. I said I was rolling through setting 3, but the thing you have to understand is my machine starts at 0, not at 1, at 0. So actually, technically, for some of you, this may be setting 4. Okay, now I see some little air bubbles. That happens frequently when you're making plugs, because you get air trapped in there. Now, I have a section that's going to be just fine. I can work around the bubbles. I know I can. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. But if you have this kind of thing happening and it bothers you, you can just take a needle and pierce and fold and roll and fold and roll until there are no, and this helps to stretch a little bit, and then fold it and roll through, and you know what, you'll get rid of some of those bubbles. Okay, let me do that. I'll be better. Okay, I am going to put this on. Oh, I'll just leave it right there. I have a choice here. You have a choice. We all have choices. Texture, to texture or not to texture? That is the question. Let me think about it. All right, now I'm going to take this guy. Hello, this guy. And I am going to cut a slice that's probably, about that thick. Okay, let me take my trusty Fire Gems ruler, and I'm going to say that is 1, 2, 3 millimeters. 3, count them 3. All right, so now this time I am going to do the same thing. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, with this being the roller, and this is the way. I want to make this longer, like that way. So I'll be back. Better. Okay, I am going to put this on. I'll just leave it right there. I have a choice here. You have a choice. We all have choices. Texture, to texture or not to texture? That is the question. Let me think about it. All right, now I'm going to take this guy. Hello, this guy. And I am going to cut a slice that's probably, about that thick. Okay, let me take my trusty Fire Gems ruler. And I'm going to say that is 1, 2, 3 millimeters. 3, count them 3. All right, so now this time I am going to do the same thing. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, with this being the roller, and this is the way. I want to make this longer, like that way. So I'll be back. So now I've rolled my beaded curtain cane, and I have my Skinner blend, and here is this, and you know what? This is just a little short. I think it's just a little short. So I'm not totally tied to setting number 3 in my pasta machine for the thickness. 3, 4, whatever. I'm not really tied to it. It's a good place to start. But if I want to use this template, and if this is too short, then I'm going to lengthen it by thinning it. Just rolling it through the pasta machine through a thinner setting. So let's do that. I'm hoping my machine doesn't screech at you. Once again, this side on the roller. Oh, thank you, machine. Thank you, machine. And it didn't really alter the pattern or design that much, but it did make it longer, and that's what I like. So what do I have to do? I have to do the same thing to this piece. I don't need this much of it, so I will just cut some off. Okay. And I managed to pick up some schmutz. It happens a lot at the leading edge as you're sending it through the pasta machine. Once again, I don't need all that much of it, so this will go right back here, like so. So now I have the 2 pieces that form the actual background pattern, and let's just put those on right now. I have a clean tile, more or less. It's pretty clean. It's clean. For me, it's clean. Okay, let's put this guy down first. Just lay him down. Do I want a texture? These questions. Okay, I'm in a texture. So I'm going to take my sponge once again. And this is going to go through like this. You know, it's a little wide. When you buy this sponge, you get tons of it. I hate that sound. I don't know. It sounds like it's coming from something in front of me, but it must be coming from something behind. Okay, so my fingers are the rollers again. Send it through this way. We don't want to lengthen it. We want to texture it, but we want it to maintain its existing width. Boom. Better. You know what? I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, but I do need to make a nice clean cut. Let me take the rigid blade. Tum-tum. Now we're going to do the same thing here. This baby's going to go through this way, just like this, because I don't want it any longer. I eliminated it long enough, didn't I? All right. Now, let me take a look at something. Did I make this side long enough? Ooh, it is. It is. It is. Now, I think I prefer this side to this side. This side got kind of, because I cut the slice thicker here, that's why it's longer this way. It had to go somewhere, like that. This side, however, is more like the original cane. I must have sliced it very evenly. So let me just take a cut. I need some computer help. I need somebody to turn off that dinging sound. Okay, so there we go. They're together, and I'm just going to press along. Pardon me for a moment. So, I still don't know where that mysterious sound is coming from, but I turned my phone on airplane mode, and I turned the sound way down on my computer behind me, and maybe that'll work. And, you know, honestly, others have tried to explain it to me, but I must be too dense. Okay, so at this point, I am just going to put this guy down right there along the middle, you see. Dunk, dunk, dunk. So these marks, this one and this one, are sitting right on the division between the two halves. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and I'm just using an acupuncture needle. And I kind of go from the sides to the top, because if I like that, then it actually pulls that line to one side. So I think it works better this way. Like so. Then we can remove the clay from around like that. Now, because I'm lazy, I'm going to take this and I stick it right back in there, and this is ready for something else. Have my little Skinner blend. This I can't do much with. Okay, unless I made another one. Da, da, da. Let's set this aside for a moment, because at this very moment we're going to make a spiral. And for that I need another tile. And what I'm going to do is cut a long tapering piece. Pretty scrap. Long tapering piece. Like that. See? And I find it a little easier to work this way rather than working straight on the piece. You might find it easier to work on the piece, but I find it a little bit easier to try to shape it on a tile. You know, this tile has a slight texture to it, and that's not helping me. See, it's not slick glazed like this guy. See how much shinier the white one is than the cream one? So let's use the white one because it is more slick. I'm going to get rid of a little bit, although that residue might help me too. A little bit of clay residue probably wouldn't hurt at all. Okay, I'm going to press that down, and I'm going to cut the tip again. And this is one of those things that seems a little bit fussy to do. But it's actually not too bad. Now this is pretty loose. If you want to tighten the spiral, then you can actually just gently push it back in. So in terms of the shaping, I think that working on the tile gives you a little more flexibility, and it's just slightly easier than working on the actual piece and then making a mistake and having to pick it up, and then, you know, the usual. Oh, I wasn't on camera. So, you know what, since I made a boo-boo, I'm going to show you again. Take your blade. Cut a long tapering piece like so. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, drop it. Secure the tip to the tile best you can. And remember that a tile with a nice glazed finish works much better than that other kind. That is, it's not textured, it's just sort of lightly sandblasted or something. Okay, so now it's just a matter of guiding and kind of securing. And you know, if you work kind of slowly like this, you're giving the strip a chance to stretch. It's stretching on the outside and it's contracting on the inside of the curve. Okay. Oh, this one looks good. It's a little tighter. A bit tighter. And now there are 2 spirals. Ta-ta. Okay, so let's use the second one. Just going to take my blade and slide it underneath. And now it's easier to position. Let's try it here, because I would like the end to come off. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. Well, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that, the way it's just sticking up like that. That's interesting. It's not what I wanted for this piece, though, so... Sometimes things are not so easy Maybe I'll approach it from the other direction. No, I can't. See, if this wasn't for a class, it would be perfect. It would be. This works. So let's get, I need this to be a little tighter in the middle. Got loosened a little bit too much, but that I can deal with too, just by lifting it, and then maybe tightening it. Because when I took it off the tile, I noticed that it kind of unsprung. It did serious unspringing. There. Whew. Took me a little while, but we got it. I'm going to straighten it up to the top like that. All right. I'm going to cut the end. Okay. Phew. I was sweating it. I think I'm going to add a few little tiny crystals to this. So let me grab those. Here are my little tiny crystals. And I've been asked where I got them. Well, they're from, I don't remember exactly where I got them, but you can get them from, you know, Temu or any of the Chinese vendors. Now, when you search, just search glass, okay? Because I think they have a lot of like acrylic ones. Now, I don't know how acrylic would behave exactly. Now, I'm taking my these little guys, and I want to use clear, not AB. How's that? Does that fit? But I do want to make a bigger, I want to kind of make a silvery bezel around it. So I'm going to have to scare up another cutter. Found one. Now, these are very inexpensive. They're called ferrules, and I don't know what they're used for exactly, but they come in all these different sizes. I think you put wire in there and then crimp down the ends or something like that. I am not really sure. So I'm going to take this and I am just going to try to center it on the line and cut out a hole. Now, is that on the center? I can't really see it. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, let me remove this. And replace it with a little piece of this. Thing is, this might be a little bit thinner. I'm not really sure. I wasn't really paying attention to the thicknesses of both of these. Oh, it's pretty much the same. That's good. I feel better about that. Now I'm going to take another cutter that is slightly larger, or sometimes I use one that's slightly smaller, but no, I know what it is. When it's cured, I use it's slightly smaller. Okay, so let me cut out the center like so. Then remove it. And to secure it, what I like to do is take some liquid clay and just scoop some out and put it in the hole like that. So I didn't fill the hole, I just put some in there. Now I'm going to take my crystal and I'm just going to kind of drop it in there. And that liquid, the goal here is to have the liquid kind of go under and then slightly up. And it will capture the crystal. Okay, do I want another one? I had two. I had another one here off to the side. It's kind of a nice touch. So let's do that because I do have smaller crystals. So what I need is black. So I can use the back of this. So let's pick out our smaller crystal. That's teeny. Teeny, teeny, teeny. Okay, so this will be the second one. This will be the first one. Let me look at the sizes. Yeah, this will be good. I have a little clay problem in there. Let me try to get it out. Okay, good deal. Just going to use this, use the back. Okay, and then cut out a hole with the red. Then do that little teeny bit of liquid in the hole. Then pick up and drop that crystal right in the hole, like so. All right, so I think I'm going to end here. I mean, very, very simple design. Might not be everybody's cup of tea, but the important thing I wanted you to know was how to make those the spiral and just little stuff like that. Okay, so this is going in the oven now, and I will cure this for between 30 and 40 minutes at 300 degrees. So let's examine another way of putting your spiral on your piece. I cured these. These are cured completely. And here is a new piece that I just made, and it is not cured, it's raw. Now, if you do this, it's a lot easier to position and make these kind of decisions, design decisions. Now, the thing about it is, you can't really change the spirals that you have. Don't know if that's a big deal, but that's why when you do this, make several different ones. Maybe make smaller ones, make bigger ones, so that you do have some choices. I think we'll use the big one. I think this time we'll come down up from the bottom, like so. And I'm also going to make it so that it's sort of, it's weighted more on the top than the bottom. The other one was sort of weighted on the bottom. Okay. Let us take liquid clay and use liquid clay for this, not poly paste, because poly paste does not cure clear. And you don't want to have any, white stuff sticking out from underneath your pretty spiral. There we go. I think I'll just leave it like that. Push it on, or press it. Press it on, push it on, press it on. Little black spot. Now, don't bother cutting this at this point. You will cut it later, and so you don't really have to deal with it now. It's going to be very easy to cut later. Let's put some crystals on. I am just going to do them the same way that I did before. So once that's done, it goes in the oven. Now I am going to cure this for 20 minutes only, because when I did the other one, and it is in the oven right now, but I will show you why I'm only curing this for 20 instead of the 40 to, I think I left the other one in for 60 minutes, and that's why it's slightly browned. So this piece will go in for 20 minutes, not 40 and not 60. This one is cured. You'll see, I made basically 3 different ones. Anyway, so it's ready to be packed, however. So what we have to do with that excess is just cut it off right now. And it's as easy as that, and it's much tidier rather than trying to cut it. Now, I'm going to take my opera net and just do a bit of light sanding around the edge like that. Not so difficult to do. I'm going to back it with black clay. That I have rolled through setting 5 and then re-rolled with a texture sheet. Okay, that's good. Okay, so how are we going to suspend this thing? These guys, you see, screw eye pins. I'm going to take a very fine U-gouge, and see, and I'm going to actually, this is going to be a little difficult here. I'm not going to be able to do what I would normally do. If this were all clay, I would just make a channel and lay it in. Now, if I turn it over, I can do my channel this way. But I really do kind of want it this way. So I can't really do that. What I have to do is I have to glue this to the back. Okay? I just have to glue it to the back. Now, it's not so easy to glue something like this to something flat, is it? No, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, it is not. So this is one of those situations where we have to do something perhaps a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some clay, some black clay, and this is, let's see, this has been rolled through setting 5. Let me cut a little, just a circle. Just a little dot of clay, and I need my needle to push it out, like so. And I'm just going to press it here. Okay, and the purpose of this is just, the only reason I've got this here is so that I can take the screw eye pin and lay it in something. It's not just going to be sitting there on cured clay. So I'm just pushing it in. Now, it will be slightly thicker here, of course, because I've got this extra clay. But I think we can make it tidy and good. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to take and put some liquid clay on the threads of the screw eye pin, because I don't want any air around those threads. I want those threads to be captured in hard clay or liquid clay or glue. because if that little thing isn't, there's a chance it will come out. Absolutely. Now here's the clay that I rolled through through setting 5. Excuse me, setting 5. And then I rolled it again through setting 5, only I pressed it onto this stuff. Okay. All right, and now we're ready. Liquid clay on the back. Like so. And remember, the only reason I had to put that little wad of clay there is because the crystal, the back of the crystal is there. I cannot carve a channel in the back of a crystal. If it had been only clay, I simply would have carved a channel into the clay, then glued the finding in. Okay, there we go. Now, let's lay this on a piece of deli paper. It's kind of simpler. I'm going to use my scalpel, and I'm just going to cut like so, and then I'm going to cut on the other side up like that, and then cut around the bottom. Good. Excellent. Now I'm going to put my signature cane on, and then I'm ready to cure again. Now this time I'm going to cure for 40 minutes, between 30 and 40 minutes. Always have to, you know, when there's white in Kato Polyclay, you always have to consider that when you're thinking about your curing. And it will cure face down. So this is going in the oven. My original intent was to show you this method for sinking this eye pin into this pendant, but I had a bit of a problem because I ran into a crystal back, right? Well, here the crystal is still there, but it's a little bit lower, so I have room. I'm going to take my U-gouge, tiny U-gouge, you can see, and I am just going to carve out a channel. And into the channel, the screw eye pin will go. You see? Makes it just a bit easier to set, like so. Gonna take my glue, put it in, drop this in, oops, drop this in. Try not to glue myself, which is like really hard because I do it all the time, like so. Okay, so you can see it's in there. Now what I will do is take some liquid clay, and I'm just going to put it right over the threads of the screw so that there's no air. My little crystal fell out when I was loosening it off the tile. Not a problem at all. Okay, so let's finish it up the same way. You know, just liquid clay on the back. Gonna fill that up. And let me finish this up. I'll be back. And there it is. I just put the crystal back in the hole. Here's the back. I will put my signature on, and this will go into the oven. This time I am going to cure it this way so that the crystal doesn't fall out. Well, I managed to make 3 that are virtually the same. I really meant to make one like that, but it didn't turn out that way. Oh well. Oh well. All right, at this point you probably want to just sand the edge so that it feels good and it looks good. I'm using my Auburnette P180. Does the trick, and it does it fast. Okay, so that looks better than that, I think. Now, if it bothers you to have an edge that is basically 2 colors, like on this side you've got the Skinner blend, and you've got a black sheet, and on this side, look, you got all this white stuff from the cane. If that bothers you, you can cover that up. You can use acrylic paint, just paint over the edge. You can use permanent markers for that. If you have Genesis paint, you can use that too, but that of course requires that you cure the piece again. Personally, I would just use acrylic paint. Okay, so that's it. Now, if you just want to leave it like this, you can take your Nivea cream and put it along the edge, and that will take and turn that black, turn the gray to black. So all of this is up to you and how much work you want to do on the piece itself. Okay. All right, so let me get the dust off. Just use a toothbrush, an old toothbrush, just to get it all off. Okay. And finally, to suspend it from a wire or whatever you choose, you're going to use an oval jump ring. Talked about this before. Oval jump rings are the only things you should use. What happens is when an oval jump ring is engaged and you're wearing the piece, you see the opening. The opening always remains on the side. It doesn't ever go down to the bottom or the top. It never sort of finds itself in a place where it can split and you can lose the piece. So oval jump rings are far superior to round. It's the only thing I use. I don't use round. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So there we have it. Just a simple little project for, it's a quick project to do. And, you can use some of these techniques and off you go. Certainly doesn't have to be silver, black, pearl, gray, but I think this could be fun in a lot of brighter colors too. All right, so that's it for this class. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, join the classroom. I've got more classes there and longer ones, more detailed. And, gosh, I guess that's it. Until we meet again, I'm Donna Kato, signing off.